Put your shoes on. Put your sneakers on. And get ready to walk in them. Because what God is getting ready to cause you to do, He's getting ready to cause you to walk a distance from the very people that try to devalue you. What's up, everybody? Listen, we are definitely excited for drop number 3 of Kicks and Konvos. Again, I'm Johnny Withers. Listen, we are really excited about how we're allowing the juxtaposition between inspiration and interest to collide and come together. This is a great time of just communication and conversation. I'm excited about it, and I thank you for everybody that has subscribed and even as much as have come on and be a part of this whole brand new community that we've created. I want you to continue with it. Today is an amazing day. Today is a day that I have my boy, my friend, my cameraman, Drew is in the house, our first guest on Kicks and Konvos, and we are just excited about him being with us. Drew, tell us about your business, your name. Go ahead. Give them all what they need to know.
Thank you, Bishop. I mean, I'm honored to be the first guest. So I would have to give all thanks to my grandma. So I used to go to her house in middle school, like starting like around like 3rd, 4th grade. I used to spend the summers over there. Okay. And she lived in Morro Bay. So she had a 2-story house that overlooked the bay, and she had a paint studio in the top attic part. Okay. So it's kind of, you had the perfect view of the bay and the big rock, Morro Bay rock. Wow. And she was a fine artist, through her career. And since I was young, she would just have me paint, draw, and it was like, there's no good way or perfect way to do this. You just do it. Yeah. And so, no skills, just going in there and just having fun and drawing pictures with her. She would kind of have a vision or an idea and say, hey, like, we're going to focus on underwater. So let's draw stuff that's, under the ocean stuff. And that's all we would do. And then she'd be like, okay, we're going to do like kind of like a street or a forest theme, a city theme. And so we would draw whatever you would imagine that would be in a forest or, the streets or the city. So
just allowing your whole imagination just to flow. I mean, truthfully, just nowadays, I think that we have to be very careful. I know we have, young creatives and I want to argue that just one quick second, that I think that some of the younger creatives were not as creative in my day, 1975. Back then when we had, I'm saying I think there is this level of creativity, and I think that's healthy for your grandmother to do that because of the fact that sometimes we're left to just new devices and things that kind of help aid the creativity. But to really sit there and have to imagine, have to envision, you just stated, like, okay, what's really underwater? Yeah. And if you ever never been there, like, okay, I got a fish, what else is under there?
And there's no right way to do it, I was just drawing. It didn't even exist.
No right way. Y'all catch that? No right way. I mean, that creativity is powerful like that. Go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, of course. And so it started, with my grandma. The older I got, the more I got into art and drawing and different mediums. She taught me not to just have one medium, like pick up watercolor or markers or pencils. And so moving on, it was really handheld. Everything was, you had to hold it and you had to erase it and you had to fill it and cut the paper. And like you said, nowadays it's on an iPad and you're drawing on an iPad. So it's like the lines are not there really, the error is just a click away and it's back to normal. Like, it's kind of, my grandma taught me the real, and it's.
Or if you had a marker, you had to kind of like make it a little wider and then recreate the whole line.
And you I feel like you had more attention to detail, because it's kind of like, kind of don't want to mess up, you want to, perfect it the first time around or master to where you could just do a pen. You don't need a pencil, you just draw with a pen. Yeah. And so that was kind of like, a goal of mine. The more I got into art was like, I'm not gonna do a pencil, I'm gonna try to just start doing pen, and if I mess up, I kind of got to build off of the flaw.
The flaw.
Yeah.
God, man, you already I'm listening, y'all. I'm trying to, basically he's dropping so many nuggets to build off of the flaw. When you start to really kind of factor that in your thoughts and your mind, when you start to really see that there are flaws that can happen, but you can even recreate off of the flaw.
Of course.
Like you still be used, still regain ground, or even as much as produce from a place that is flawed.
Exactly. It's always better after, once you figure out that flaw and you think of ways how you could fix it, or ways, you got to be very innovative and think quick. It's kind of just like, oh, let me figure out this if I'm just keep going, because that inspiration.
And I think that's really actually, if I could say this, I think it's actually a designer's secret. You know what I'm saying? Certain people, like, we look at it like, oh man, this is fresh, this is dope, it look good, and the designer's saying, y'all don't even understand. That was really a mistake.
Yeah.
It's like, so I just rolled with the mistake, and all of a sudden it became a trend or a style or a design,
So yeah, to pick up off that, my grandma, my dad was pretty artsy as well, was a good drawer. I feel like it ran in my family. My younger sister picked up a lot after me. She's very crafty and artistic. So yeah, in like middle school, the same, like drawing, graffiti was kind of big when I was in middle school. So, learning letters and typography. And going into high school was when I started to figure out about streetwear. Freshman year, I started learning about streetwear and all these brands that were very art based in their clothing.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, these drawings are cool, or how they unite art and graffiti into garments. I was like, this is really awesome. Like it's wearable now.
Yes.
So
yes.
I was like, I want to do that. And before it was just me drawing on T-shirts until I figured it out.
Yeah, I remember those days. I mean, just drawing on clothes, and believe it or not, I used to do a little graffiti myself before I started preaching. But we ain't gonna talk about that right now. Go ahead. Come on, talk to Drew. This is your story.
So I was like, well, I can't sell this if I'm, pencil and art paper, and I wasn't really familiar with prints, and I felt personally my art wasn't good enough then. It was like I'm still learning it, and so yeah, I mean, I wanted to transition into clothing. Once I started figuring out all these brands and becoming a fan of these brands, I was like, man, I want to do that too. I want to make hats. I want to make hoodies and T-shirts, and be able to have details hidden within the garment. You know? So yeah, I going into high school, sophomore year, I kind of started my first clothing company with my brother, my best friend Tommy.
Tom.
Shout out to Tom.
Yeah.
So I kind of told my parents about it, and they were like, well, you got to go hustle, go mow lawns, go clean cars, or we're not gonna give you $500, So went around the block and just started doing landscaping a lot. Like I was like, I'll pick your weeds, replant your plants, and like a year and a half, I was able to save up like almost $1,000, and
man,
Tommy was able to match me with all the stuff he was doing around his neighborhood, and we're like, all right, let's see what we can really do with this, and figure out what it takes to print on T-shirts, and the different avenues you could go, and
so y'all in high school at this time?
Yeah, Tommy's in 8th grade. Yeah,
he's in 8th grade. You're a
sophomore.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
So and again, when I met Tommy through basketball, we all played pickup basketball. That's how I ended up meeting Tommy, and he was into streetwear as well too, even younger than me. So I'm like, oh man, like this kid knows the stuff, like, and big, we were big into sneakers around that time too, and just through basketball, like personally me, Allen Iverson and Tracy McGrady, and Steve Francis, and seeing all, Dwayne Wade and LeBron and Kobe, how they wore their shoes, and just how good it looked on the court, and how you could wear pants to complement it, and So that's where the creativity and
it's crazy. My mind is thinking Magic Johnson, James Worthy. Generations is different. Y'all just say, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. All right.
So we gathered up some money and we knew where to get the shirts through the little knowledge. It was like, oh, we got to go to the garment district in downtown LA. Like that's that's where every brand starts, I guess. You know,
right,
so we're like,
just go to LA, go downtown.
Go that way. Yeah, that's where everything's
that's where you go. Right.
And we took the metro down here and we were like, we got to find shirts. You know, are we gonna do black shirts, white shirts? What, you know, before then, we just had a couple of designs that I drew up, and we thought about the name. So we had the vision, we had the name, we had the logo, and had it all designed up. At this time, I didn't have a computer at the time. Tommy did. So I was like, man, like we have to get Photoshop. I'm doing the research. We need Photoshop, whatever that is, you know. And he ended up getting Photoshop. His dad ended up getting it for him. Wow. And so I'm just learning on his computer, like, oh, I'm gonna take your computer home and I'm just learning. And learned how to do little illustrations on Adobe. And you know, I was talking to Tommy. I was like, man, like, what should the name be? Like, what, you know, what are we into? And we're big into hip hop. Big Sean at the time. We were listening to a lot of that.
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot of Biggie, and we were like paper chasers. Like we're just trying to just get money at a young age, you know, and do it the right way and through clothes.
Because y'all did, because I mean, y'all was cutting grass, picking weeds, and so we hustling and grinding. Paper chase. Okay, I got it.
That was the goal, and we, you know, we had a vision, and we just didn't let go until we kind of had it up and running.
Wow, paper chasers, man! And you went downtown, you got the shirts, and you just started creating from there.
Got the shirts and we get back to Riverside, and we're like, well, what are we gonna do with these? We got the artwork on the computer, and we got these blank T-shirts. Like, how do we get the artwork on the shirts? Like, you know,
right.
And Tommy's like, oh, my friend's dad has a silkscreen press. You know, like let's go see if he'll let us use it. And we go over one morning, and his dad's like, it's in there. I don't know how to use it. I'm not gonna tell you how to use it. Figure it out, but you guys can use it. It's in the garage. So we clean it all up. It probably hasn't been used in years, and it still works. Everything works. The conveyor belt, the heater works. Like, it was the whole setup in the garage.
The whole setup.
So the only thing we had to do was... That's expensive. Yeah, really expensive. And it was I want to say 4 to 6 color press. So it was everything we needed. And so the only problem we had was, like, we need to go get screens made. We're figuring out the process now, like what steps to take. And we were able to get the artwork on screens. And we're like, all right, well, let's just start printing.
So the screens is like is layers, right?
It's a vinyl screen that has the artwork on it, and then you put the ink on the vinyl screen, and
then you scrape it back and forth,
that gets onto the garment.
To the garment.
Yeah. So once we figured that out, we just started running with them, and started in our high school. This was at this time once we started printing. Tommy was going into his freshman year, and I was going into my junior year. So
man, so y'all are still in high school.
Yeah.
And practically bona fide businessmen who are already just creating at a high school level in Riverside, capturing the Metro link coming down. Dude, that's phenomenal, man. When you really start to really think about how your mind was at that age, trying to create something that is going to become something, you know, and then it epitomizes the very name that you chose was, I mean, paper chasing, you know, just, but it's nothing negative. It's a positive. I mean, and I think that's something I think this generation should seek out more. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have a blank canvas of life that you can really just take advantage of and just really just go after and just go do it.
So much out there. And that's exactly what we did is we just started pumping these shirts out and started wearing them around high school and had our friends wearing them, and soon people were like, oh, how can I get this? How can I get this? And end up selling out that bag of 100, 200 shirts. It's gone.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and this was before a website. This is all just word of mouth, and you know, telling my mom, like, oh, if any of your friends want them, just try to get like the word out. And I'm telling you, these were crooked shirts, and the holes in them. Like,
are you serious? But they're rocking them though.
They're rocking them, yeah. And then everyone was, it was kind of like a wave that happened so quick. And we were like, man, we got to get a website. Now we're getting money. Like, what do we do now? Like, we got,
So there's a crazy thing. You're like, we got to get a website because social media really has not.
No, Instagram wasn't really even out
Instagram
yet.
was what, 2010, 11, 12, like that? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, my barely starting right now. My sophomore, junior year, Instagram just came out.
Wow.
Yeah, like was just, so we were on Twitter before. We
were yeah, because Twitter was already existing.
Instagram started, I think, like my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Was when Instagram came. Dang. And it kind of took over, but it was still so. No one was really posting clothes like that on Instagram in the early years.
No.
Selfies and food and
yeah.
But it did help us. We were at the perfect time with Instagram because we did have a business page for it right when it hit.
Oh wow!
And our followers were booming through Instagram because it was so fresh and it was so new, and it was the way to get around the town. People, what's your Instagram? And
yeah.
For the longest time, we weren't even giving out like our personal Instagrams. Like, oh, Paper Chaser,
Paper Chaser.
So all the traffic was going there, and we were able to get a website. Lock the URL down and link our accounts to it. And after we got the website, it was kind of over after that. Like we started getting LA, New York, the Midwest, Hawaii.
So now, wait. So y'all go from Riverside downtown, get some shirts, come back. Uncle has an old dusty silk screen. You lay out, make the shirts. Shirts got holes and all that. Friends are wearing them. Get it on Instagram, and now you're going not only from Riverside area, LA County area, you're now crossing borders.
Yeah. And then my vision and my ideas just started going crazy. I'm like, oh, this is not even the best of my work. This is just something like I just drew up, and so I'm like, I'm already years ahead. Like I got summer, spring, winter, fall. Like let's plan this out. Like let's.
So you starting to now get seasons
and different colors, and we're gonna do hoodies and jackets and hats, and so we started running with it.
Man, that's amazing, man. Reason why I love it so much, man, because just the whole creative ingenuity of everything, and then to see things evolve and begin to progress and to come about, and all of a sudden now you're branching out beyond where you are. It's like you're reaching beyond what you're possibly how did y'all feel? What was your thoughts? What were you thinking?
I had faith in the unknown. I was like, man, I don't know what's gonna come out of this. I'm just gonna keep doing it. It makes me happy. I'm still, doing well in school. As long as I'm passing, I could keep doing this,
Okay.
And, I didn't have to get a job because of it. I was able to make a little money.
Man, that's crazy.
And we were still doing everything out the swap meet. Like we were going to the swap meet, getting all of our hats at the Chicago swap meet in Riverside. We were going to Moval. Getting all of our hats made there until we were producing too much for them, and then we were like, well, we got to go to a real, a bigger production, But it was everything was out the swap meet. We were getting our hats made, our stickers made, and just getting everything from there and just selling it without it even being sold. We would just make it, put it on the website, see if it sells out, and it was selling out.
People was in.
And we were just the goal that we had kind of going into this was like, it's if you don't get it, you don't get it. Once it's gone, it's gone. So we were doing that for 2-3 years. No reprints, no nothing.
Oh, so now that right there is masterful.
Yeah.
That you created this whole realm of FOMO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if I don't get it,
it's gone.
It's gone.
And we never reprinted anything the whole time we had that company. Because I was like, man, I got these ideas.
So here's the crazy thing. It's like thematic. It's like you created subconsciously with the whole brand. You created a space of chasing without really identifying the chase.
Yeah.
But let me just put it here. And if you want it, you got to go get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't run after it, man.
Good luck trying to get it, you know. So that was the whole, the whole vision, and that was coming from like I guess like Supreme. There was a couple brands that were kind of on that, you know.
Yeah.
And it took me a little age and maturity to be like, how was I doing it? I could have reprinted this, and it was the best hit, and I could have made the money at that time, you know, instead of, oh, once it's gone. But then hundreds of people asking, where's it at? Yeah. Instead of fulfilling the need and the demand for it, I was always on to something new. And looking back at it, I'm like, okay, you know, like now it's like if you got a hit, let it hit.
Let it hit and let it keep on hitting.
So it helped my creativity tremendously, you know, because I was like, I want to keep pumping out these new designs. And
so did you ever get a point where you had like you just got stuck? Did you ever? Yeah. Like you was trying to figure it out. Like, oh man,
where am I gonna draw the inspiration from? Like, it was always music inspired. You know, graffiti inspired. I would just listen to music all day, movies. Yeah. And catch something in a movie or catch a phrase and build off that. You know, be like, oh, this is how we could design something around this. Yeah. And it always link up, and we just kept going with that type of identity for the brand, as it being, you know, very 90s based in the music scene, the movie scenes. We were doing like Godfather flips. We were doing like a lot of old inspired stuff, and just putting a new twist on it, you know. And we had like a few big hits that, of course, did way more numbers than we ever could imagined. And so we just started mailing orders every day out to just getting them on the website. And
I know that was very, very overwhelming though. That the help mailing out all the
trying
stuff.
to figure out that process now. Like, we gotta go to. I've never been inside a post office. So,
right. So you're trying to figure out so you getting labels and everything. And
labels. And polyliners. You know, we want it to look good. Can't just put it in basic bags. So like, oh well, you know, the presentation when they get it has to be everything too. You know, like. We want them to have stickers. One thing right off the bat, we were like, we want our shirts to have tags, our own tags. Okay. That was something that like I pushed Tommy on. I was like, we can't drop shirts and have the Gildan tag or like the all style tag. I was like, we gotta print our tags.
You gotta print our own tag.
So when they get them, it's like,
you gotta brand it.
Yeah, this is the branding's in there, and it was a cool spot to add details in it, you know, because it was in the neckline, like. We had little punchlines and little phrases that we ran with in there.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it was like cool little like hidden stuff all around, and we always kept creating new tags because everything, you know, we wanted to create that demand.
Create the demand. That's amazing. So, got all this taking place. All this is happening. You're evolving. It's growing. Now, if you're like me, where was the point that you got bored with that and was ready to make a shift and do something different?
So we ran that brand from like the end of 2011, 2012, all the way up to 2016. Okay. And it's something that like it was hard for me to talk about for a long time, you know, because it was like. Everyone's like, what happened? Why'd you guys stop? You know, like, you're almost at the like peak. You know, you're doing well, and I wasn't jaded in it. I was just kind of like, I felt like the designs that I was producing at that time just weren't me anymore, and it's just something I'm like, it really was. I'm still listening to the same music to this day, but Tommy was, you know, we were kind of both going our own direction too. Tommy was going into college. I was going to college. I was moving out to LA. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to keep it running. And we had one last collection, and it did well. It was product of the 90s. It was all 90s inspired clothes. And we had a hat on there that was Idols versus Rivals that did really well. And so we ended on a good note. And it was just kind of like, man, like, you know, like not really where I see it going. And
got it.
I'm, you know, just want to start something fresh, you know. I just want to. If I did it once, I could do it again, and it was tough. I'm still trying to get back to, you know, those heights I reached at that first brand. Okay. But you know, it's trusting in the unknown still, and just.
You know what's phenomenal is that, and a lot of times we look at moments like that and we think that it's the end of something.
Yeah.
But I think it's more so redirection. Because again, you said something inside of you actually started to shift and started to change. And I believe that actually when you're designing something, when you're creating something, when you're producing something, when you're making something, it comes from you on the inside. And by it coming from you on the inside, if that is no longer there, you start to produce out of a place or a space
Definitely.
that's counterproductive to the actual brand itself. So then when you make that redirection, and if I was just, kind of piggyback and take this with life, vision is never meant to just be a snapshot. Vision comes from the Latin word video, which you get our word video. So it's an ongoing motion. It's an ongoing movement. It's something that is ever evolving. Paper chasers. You can bear with me because I'm a preacher too, sneaker preacher. But the scriptures talks about, Habakkuk says, write the vision, make it plain, and says those who read it, they're able to run with it. And so here you got paper chasers, you got people running with it, they're running with it, they're moving with it, right? They see the vision, they got it. But then what happens when the actual runner or the actual visionary starts to see something different? You want to change the writing, you want to change, the definition, you want to change the look of it. And I think a lot of times people get stuck. But help me with this, Drew. When you saw that redirection and you saw, because again, that's vision too.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? That you was still, you was able to see when there was a need for change.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times visionaries, they mess up because they get stuck in what they see and they stop seeing what you kept seeing.
Yeah.
So what was your next vision? What did you just see?
At that time, I just moved out to LA.
Okay.
So I'm 19, 20 years old, and the fashion was kind of changing too. My style was changing, Yeah. I was getting into a little more a mature look, and I was like, man, these are all graphic tees, and what if I want to switch it up, we tried it with paper chasers. We had a more luxury brand with it at that time, and that was also like, oh, why are you doing it? Like this brand works. Stop trying to, and at that time I was just like, I felt like what I was designing with paper chasers was really, everything was by the book. I was like, I got to design a collection, and that's it. And all the collection has to all mean the same, and it has to all relate.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to create. I just, if people like it, they'll buy it, or they don't, and at least I get to wear it. But it was kind of just like, all right, I don't want anything to be matching. I just don't want any of it to relate to each other anymore. I just want it all to be what I produce. So the shirts don't have to make sense. Seasons don't have to match anymore. Like, there's really no vision behind a collection anymore. It's really just what I want out there. And it opened up for me to do home accessories and home goods and outside of just garments, because I was like, what if I want to drop a chair, along with a shirt? Or what if I want to do pillows? I started getting into like blankets and pillows and towels, and it's just, it was just more of like, just taking the journey and everything I learned from it, and being able to put that in other mediums, just how my grandma taught me.
And to have that broader base. You had stated when we was talking earlier how grandma would lay out just a blank piece of paper and say, okay, let's just draw this. So now you have this broad base to be able to create and I'm no longer held bound by you're only supposed to make t-shirts or you're only supposed to make shoes or you're only supposed to make, and so now you go into this whole, you know, multifaceted approach. I mean, we see it with Virgil, you know what I'm saying? When it comes down to Off-White, you know, Off-White had clothes, Off-White had shoes. Then Off-White went to IKEA and started having rugs and started having. So I mean, the creativity of it, and then again, I mean that's powerful because again, there is a marketplace for that. There is a audience for that. There is people who have an interest in that. And who will spend money on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's where I was just like, man, I just want it to be me. Like I want everything that I'm creating to be just what I want that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist right now, so I want to put it out there. And at the time, it was just the perfect avenue for me to take, you know, and where I was creatively as a designer and as an artist, I was just trying something new, and I just had, you know, I like to suck at something again and progressively get better at it, you know. And
say that again.
Just being, you know, not as good at something, sucking at something, and progressively seeing yourself get better, you know. And that was kind of like stepping outside of my comfort zone, what I knew I could do every time. Like I could put this out and it's gonna work, but. You know.
For every person that is a creative, every person that's a visionary, and you're listening to this, take what you suck at, what you fail at, what you make a mistake at, and then recreate off of. I mean, this thematically, I keep hearing that. It keep coming back. It's like, you know, it's the power of perseverance, man. It's the power of vision. It's the power of creativity. You know what I'm saying? That I can take that which is, I mean, it's like thrift clothes. You know what I'm saying? You can repurpose thrift clothes. You can repurpose. I mean, right now, you know, just what was just dropped, you know, I got mine. The Lost and Found, the whole vintage look, you know what I'm saying? Distressed jeans and jackets and clothes, you know? I mean, that's
it's
like somebody would say it's a fair. I mean, I remember, you know, like my parents was looking at it, well, you know, why would you go buy dirty shoes? You know? But I mean, it's like people would really like, you know, Gucci got a whole shoe. It's like it looks dirty. It's like, why would you go buy dirty shoes? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, but and then why would you go buy jeans that got holes in them? You know what I mean? But all of that becomes style from mistake. I mean, you know, I know you probably don't know this rap group, but there's one rap group called Salt and Pepper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Salt and Pepper. Yeah, Salt and Pepper. Yeah. Now, girls would like cut the side of their hair, but not knowing, Pepper made this very clear when she said, they thought that was like intentional, but that was really like a mistake.
Yeah.
And they cut the side of next thing you know, everybody's shaving the side of the head. Man, every girl you saw, their hair was just off. You know, like I mean, but I'm just saying, you could take the actual mistake or take the actual failure and produce something.
Yeah. And I think that's where you know, that's where it's authentic. It's for it, not everything picture perfect and you know, no flaws, and there's you know, I feel like there's nothing to gain from that. You want to see the flaws, you want to see the crooked lines, you know, like you want to see
the raw aesthetic of it,
and then see the outcome that they created at the end of it. You know,
yes,
it's when you see something perfect every single time, it becomes like cookie cutter homes and all that, where you're like, man, like where's the flaw, where's the error? And the perseverance where they kept going to get. Cause
you want to see that, you want to, and you know, I'm gonna tell you something. That is what I believe that the pandemic brought. You know, the pandemic brought. I mean, I can recall first. You know, thank God for you and Tom. You know, y'all coming in and Vaughn coming in, making sure the sound was right. But man, bro. Shoot, man, I was so busy trying to make sure it looked right. Try to make sure it sounded right. Yeah. Try to make sure every, man, y'all don't understand. Lighting was right and things like that. Make sure that there was no mistakes. And, but then I started understanding that the pandemic was the place for you to understand we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's real. It's authentic. It allows people to see that you're not a robot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or it's not just something manufactured or created by robots. It's like, this is human made.
Yeah. And it shows your will and not to give up when you don't get it the first time around, or it's gonna take time, and that's just craftsmanship. That's with anything, it's something that you love, you're gonna perfect it to the most part, but it's like you're never gonna be satisfied. Like, you're always gonna want to do better. Because
once you get to that one particular place, you yourself gonna see something that you can do better.
Always.
Mm-hmm. So you're never satisfied.
I feel like I'm getting to the age where I'm satisfied. Like I know.
Right.
And then I'm also at that point where I just know the power of putting stuff out and not holding it, and because I know where I got that information from, or that inspiration from, or what helped me design that or create that, whether it was from an emotional place or whatever I've been through.
Yeah.
I know that this is needed for other people to see, and I felt like my clothes moving off of paper chases going into my new brand was kind of like very based off of emotion and based off of past experiences, and I wanted to put that in my designs. Yes. And I wanted people to be able to relate from it, even if it was just a graphic shirt, and just the meaning that it had before that. It wasn't so music driven anymore. It wasn't so graffiti driven anymore. It was more like, okay, I'm gonna step inside and see where can I draw inspiration from the inside,
from my heart. Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot more relatable than a song.
Yeah.
So I feel like people are gonna connect to emotions, and if you could, trigger something through someone and let them feel what you felt designing that. Wow. I think that garment or that hoodie, that hat, whatever, holds a lot more power than a rap shirt or like the stuff I was designing when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's also, I believe, is amazing because your new brand is fits from Drew.
Yep.
Yeah. So crazy story, y'all. As most of you all know, I'm a pastor, and Drew is one of the staff cameramen that work here, and he hands me this hat right here, and I'm thinking it's a hat from Lids. I'm like, man, dude hooked me up with a cool hat, and not knowing that this is your stuff. Yeah, it fits from Drew. Yeah. And to see it, and I checked it out, I wore it, and I didn't even realize the side. And I looked, and the side, I'm thinking it said World Series, but it said World Ending.
Yeah. Just a play off of
which is cool.
Yeah, baseball history, and that was the experience that you had when I gave you that. That was my goal. I wanted this hat to look exactly like the traditional baseball hat, and I was taking a step with cease and desist and all that stuff. I was like, I'll get an email if they really want to come after me, but I'm not making enough to,
So, put them to bother you.
I was like, I'll take my chances.
Yeah.
But that was, at the time when I dropped these hats in like 2019, 2020, it was 3 years, 2019 to 2021, where I was doing hats. I'm gonna focus on hats.
Okay.
Being a hat fan, but hats at the time were getting oversaturated. Fitteds came back big time in 2019, so everybody was designing hats, and they were just doing so much to the traditional fitted. They were embroideries everywhere. It was just cluttered, and everything was on the hat. And I was like,
overwhelming
to wear on your head. So I was like, being a hat fan, being a baseball fan, I want my hat to look just like the traditional baseball hat. I just want to make a little tweaks, but I don't want to overdo it. I want it to be
just enough.
So what I did was, this one doesn't have it because of the snapback, but I swapped out the Batterman 2 in the back of my fitteds, and I put a woman instead. I was like, I don't want to have a, I was like, I'm gonna put so it's a woman with a fan, like she has a fan in her hand, and she has a knife in the back. So it's kind of just like showing like, you know, like, oh, if this is all men, I want to show that like a woman could, you know, have a strong, just being raised by so much women. So I was like, I just don't want to do a man in the back.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I love the whole concept. And see, again, that again speaks to the vision. Like, you know, like when you really, like now explaining that, seeing that now registers differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm a preacher, but I come not from a lineage of male preachers. I come from a lineage of female preachers. Yeah. So it's like the power of the woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That she's still to be calm and collected with a fam, even though she has a knife in her back.
Yeah, you know. So that was like the whole message I ran with, and just kept it just the batterman, the side patch, and the front.
Okay.
That's it. You know, that's what the traditional baseball hat.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. So I'm just gonna run with those 3.
Wow.
And see if it works. And man, I was able to do a lot with them.
So are they still available, or you kind of slowed up on it? You shifted?
I slowed down just because I couldn't. I was having trouble fulfilling orders. I was getting too many orders, and I didn't have a direct source to the blanks because I was using New Era.
Okay.
Fitted. So
yeah.
exact hat you would see at Liz, I was using that blank.
Yeah. I can tell. It's a New Era hat.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, "How are you getting that? How are you getting these?" And I had a direct source, and after towards the end of the pandemic, the company became overwhelmed, and I got an email that was like, "We're no longer providing blanks," and I'm like, "Oh man, I still got them on my website. I'm still getting orders."
Oh
so
man.
The chase came back. I was like, I can't just give them refunds. I don't want to do that. I mean, I can, but I want them to get the hat that they ordered. So, man, Tommy could you know, agree to this. I was traveling all around to every mall, you know, trying to find these blanks. I was like, calling lids. I was driving through Riverside, Orange County.
The chase is
back to LA, going to Palm Springs. Like, I just got to find these, you know? And definitely at the money I was spending on gas, I could have just gave them the refund. But I was like,
right.
I was, you know, I wanted them.
But
to have that.
But you wanted them to have
the
actual product of what. Yeah,
that you know, because they felt the same, you know, whether it was just they liked the hat or it was I wanted it to be a timepiece, for it to be the 2020 world ending. I wanted people to buy this hat. Yeah. And, you know, like, remember whatever the pandemic gave them, you know, like whatever they got out of that, they have the hat to remember that, you know, and that's kind of, you know, what I wanted most people that purchased it. There was a few that I couldn't fulfill, that I had to give the refunds out, but that was like with this new brand, it did, like, I was able to gain back that inspiration and motivation.
That's good.
Shipped those all around the world. All around the world.
That's good stuff, man. You know, I mean, all of it I love. I mean, you know, just so much. And I hope those that are watching and paying attention, that you're capturing, like, the perseverance, the lack of giving up, you know, still operating in a place of fulfilling the dream, fulfilling the vision, and not letting that dictate, or the lack thereof dictate whether you should complete or not. Yeah. You know, and it's amazing to see how that still produces. You know, when you start to look at vision, when you start to look at perseverance, when you start to look at striving to complete and fulfill destiny in your life, you see oftentimes you're going to go through ebbs and flows throughout that whole process. But the ebbs and flows all produces the color, the context. It produces, you know, it gives you, like you said, the essence of why we exist. You know what I'm saying? Why we're created to do what we do. You know, God himself, you know, he created the heavens and the earth. You know, saying it was without form and void, so it means there was nothing there. But then all of a sudden, he creates man, and he breathes into his nostrils. He wants man to be what he's originally created him to be. and man messes up, right? And then you got life that happens. Cain kills Abel, and then you got Noah, and and you start seeing all these ebbs and flows throughout Scripture, and all I'm just saying how that Bible even still speaks to even the power, because God was a creative. You know what I'm saying? And he still is creating with each and every one of us, and still producing through us vision and insight and product and purpose and dreams, and it's still meeting destiny, you know. And ideally, I forgot the artist's name. He just came out with a croc, and he
Sleepy?
I don't know. It's one that kind of looks like it looks like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
So he takes his fingerprint and he creates the croc off of the fingerprint of his finger. Amazing, man. Yeah. Like, who thinks of that? You know what I'm saying? That I'm gonna take my own fingerprint and create this whole croc and just sell it. Like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just saying how people take different things, people don't understand, this is the product of Tinker.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dude, he's amazing, dude. Created the Air Max. Created, the Jordans. But
and he did without certainty that it was gonna work. It was just what he thought he liked. He liked it. It was new. It was it was needed at that time in the sneaker world, and he took a huge risk putting those shoes out. Huge risk.
Because again, as we've seen, the Jordan, there was so much that was going on with that up and down, and the NBA, and how they were, didn't want to accept, what's the ones they called? They called them, they was banned because something about the colors, and oh man, it's just so much. I can remember UNLV. I forgot the guys that wore the black socks. They got mad with them for wearing black socks. It's just so much. It's like when you start breaking these areas of, tradition, and causing people to rethink how you view certain things or how you perceive certain things. That's the power behind it.
Definitely.
That's the power behind it. You come up with Paper Chasers and gave a whole new look. Fits from Drew gives a whole nother look. I just can't wait to see, man, all this. I can't wait to see the couch,
man,
or the chair, or the end table.
Tommy and I, we still work every month together.
That's good.
We do all these visuals that we do together. He's my go-to man. He's still a very core help in everything that I envision, and he brings it alive with visuals and with photos. So
I love it.
And he's been nothing but helpful during that journey of mine too, stepping into the video and stepping into film. That's his realm, and I'm like, I want to do this, and these are my ideas, and how can we do this? And he's always like, we can do it, let's just do it. And
that's good stuff.
So with every with this Fits from Drew and the new brand, it's with every drop that I do, there has to be a visual connected to it to kind of show where I drew that inspiration from. And
I love that, man. Because we're a brand new visual generation. Everything is visual. Everything is video. We have to see it, and I'm just grateful to God for you, man. That you just decided to come, just kind of chill with us and kind of talk. And man, it's my prayer, man, that you keep creating.
Thank you.
I think the world needs it. I think the culture needs it, and and wherever you draw the inspiration from, man, keep doing it, because again, I think it's going to be a holistic look and a holistic view of the power of what I believe God has put in you. Man, I thank you for taking our time to just chit chat and talk and dialogue.
I gain a lot of inspiration from you as well.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
I really do.
I thank you, man.
Every time I'm in here, I leave with something new, and it sticks with me, and I carry it. So
thank you, man.
I just want to tell you to keep doing what you're doing, because there's a lot of people that are gaining inspiration and motivation from you as well.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate it so very much, man.
Of course.
Look, y'all, I got my hat.
Yeah.
So, hey, y'all gotta chase it. Maybe y'all could go find it. Maybe it's somewhere, somebody may have it. They may want to resell it.
Yeah.
But no, thank you, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Of course.
Man, thank you all.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right, y'all. We see y'all. Kicks and Konvos. Drop number 3's complete. Done. That's a wrap.